Can, yeah. Oh, got feedback. Mm.
Yeah.
No, still got it.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
You think that's okay? No.
Is it you or is it one of us?
It's me. It has to be me. My microphone is off and my camera is off.
It's audio off because I have problems with Cornwall Council. Button at the bottom.
That was off. Yeah. Right, try now.
Is that working? Yes, it is. Wonderful. Okay, Happy New Year, everybody. Slight technical issue there. Sort of like perpetual echo. Yeah, greetings. Welcome to Planning and Licensing on what's turned out to be a rainy evening on the 7th of January. My mother's 89th birthday, just for interest. Anyway, right, apologies, Duncan.
We have apologies from Councillor Morris and I believe Councillor North as well.
Yes.
And we are expecting Councillor Adlam.
Yeah, she's normally a couple of minutes late because she's coming from work. Interests, any declaration of interest as and when? I don't think we've got any meeting management issues. Minutes, we've got the minutes from the 10th of November, 10th to 10th of December, sorry. And does anybody have any issues with the 10th of December minutes? Joanna looks like she's quickly flicking through. No? No? So I'm happy to propose. Second, all in favour of the minutes? Wonderful. And I'll sign those later on.
Yeah, apologies about the 16th. I didn't quite get around to finishing them, so we'll make sure they're on the agenda for the next meeting.
That's fine. Matters arising from those minutes? No? No. Little blank faces. Right. 7, active consultations. So we've got the bus transport improvement plan on the east, which, Duncan, do you want to talk us through that?
Yeah, certainly. So you will recall that we looked at this, when we met on the 10th, and we had some questions about it. On your comments sheet, did you pick one up, Joanna? Has someone got one that they check? You'll recall that there was a gentleman. I could put it up on the screen if you want. Indeed, yes. My understanding is that we are just going to respond to what we have, and if we agree and we think that they've done it in the wrong place, then that will be the basis of our response. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
You want someone to propose that?
Well, we have to. Should we have a quick recap? A quick look at the.
Do we need a recap for this? Are we all happy that it's this?
Half the room is talking about one corner.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, that was the. This was the part of the map in question, and I believe that the gentleman felt that it should be further down the road, not outside the old vicarage, but outside the church.
Yeah.
And most of you agreed with that as well.
Yeah.
As I say, I haven't been able to get anything definitive back, so we will just respond to what we have in front of us. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Well, no.
Well, I presume our local county councillor now for that area might have to comment on that.
Well, Jeff Brown went in and he said what you need is not changing the yellow lines, you need hash over that corner.
Oh, yeah, and no racing.
Yeah.
Here comes Karen. So, So we're commenting on this, aren't we? We're not objecting, or are we objecting?
Yeah, we are simply commenting.
Commenting
We don't
on
have
this.
any form or any template to work with.
Well,
We are just commenting.
I think the comment is that, as far as we're concerned, the other Leader Road, Church Road junction is a much better candidate for
Something.
a range of road markings to stop people parking there. And yes, it's a hash, but I don't remember seeing hash.
It wasn't, it was just changing the yellow lines. And I don't think they've really thought about it. I've seen the bus go around that corner, it has a hell of a time.
It has, yes, because I mean people park opposite, whereas that going from that way, it goes up that Leader Road, so it should swing easily around the corner. So as far as we're concerned, we're holding out it's the same corner. It's the wrong corner. If it is that corner, then the other corner needs doing too. The other junction. That is our
If I
comment.
can just say so, I think it's going to be quite difficult for them because they've obviously done one big, they're intending to do one big TRO, which makes it
Yeah.
cheaper for. It's got it's a lot of road. It's got a lot of roads in it.
Yeah, a huge number.
And
Yeah.
then we're suddenly turning round, or Colin Minor are turning round and saying you've got the wrong road.
Well, I'm sorry if somebody's been, not consulting with us first before putting that in, rather than we've got these in we'd like to put it into a big all-encompassing TRO. This is what we're thinking, rather than the other way round, because then it makes it just pointless, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's just giving lip service.
There was obviously, because I've spoken to this gentleman, so there was obviously some sort of TRO conversation took place locally, and they didn't include any of our councillors.
I think the problem is you've got a junction of Leader Road and Church Road, which is near an old church, and you have another junction. You have another junction which is Leader Road and Church Road, which is near an old church. So you can see how they got it wrong. Because that's Chapel News or whatever it is opposite.
Yeah.
They think, oh, there it is.
I'm quite happy with
Is that all right? Thank you, Duncan. Do we need to vote on that? Yeah. So I'm proposing said comments that I have and John have made. Sandy seconding. All in favour?
It doesn't need to be complicated, does it?
All we're doing is passing comments, Karen, on what we discussed before. Yeah. She's with it as well. So you must. I know it's a bit of a shock coming back, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Licensing. Number 8, licensing. Variation then on licence for AFC Clevedon Road, Newquay AFC Clevedon Road. Duncan, over to you on this one.
Right, okay, so yeah, this has been a slightly confusing application. I believe that what they wish to do down at the football club is currently the sports bar here that you can just see in grey there. Currently, that is the only the only area where licensable activities can take place. They want to include the whole of the premises, which is effectively the whole of the football club. They want to do this so that they can have, and you'll see there it says outside bar, so that they can have some drinks, alcoholic drinks sold from, effectively from sort of like a food trading kind of setup in various places around the ground, and also no, I think that sums it up.
But that doesn't include the car parks. So where are these things going to be? Maybe.
They're on the top.
suggesting that there's any issues, but it probably means that your home and away supporters aren't all standing next to each other at the bar, just, you know.
Can Joanna just come in?
The only problem, I suppose I shouldn't declare an interest. That isn't my car that's parked on the right hand at the top. That is the Lib Dem office. But we're not worried about it. But those two top ones, that outside bar 1, and then the outside bar 2, I think is okay, the hatch one, quite near residential places. So that's sort of right on the back of, would have been number 1 Clevedon Road, wouldn't it? So that would be my only concern about having a bar that close. I mean, admittedly, there's a garden and apparently a swimming pool. Well, I think it's a swimming pool between them and the. But I would just.
Once we let Duncan finish, I think there's a lot more issues yet, Joanna. I think that could be the least of our worries, right? So
unfortunately, I don't think that the form, and they can be tricky, especially if you're doing the PDF form, they can be a bit tricky, but I think some things were included in the application which they didn't intend to, and unfortunately with statutory consultation periods, etc., there's not really much room for flexibility, so it's not something that you can make a mistake and then go, oh, I didn't mean that. It's really, you are stuck with what you submitted in the beginning. And unfortunately what they did was they tinkered with their hours for the retail supply of alcohol. The hours that they had when they had a Friday to Sunday and one set of hours and a slightly longer one on the Saturday, and the change that they made effectively took half an hour off the Saturday and put 30 minutes onto the rest of it. Basically, the upshot is that their opening hours no longer mesh together with their opening hours don't mesh together with their alcohol sales times. So for 6 days of the week, there is no 30 minutes drinking up time. Basically, the bar closes at midnight and the premises closes at midnight. You really must have that 30 minutes drinking up time. Speaking to people at the club, I don't think that this was what they intended at all, but it is what they submitted. So my advice would be that we ought to object to that. It's possible, if it goes to a hearing, that it might all be able to be sorted out, and they just change their premises plans, because I don't believe that they actually intended to change their hours. But they've tinkered around with the form, and what they've submitted is a change of hours. Similarly, I don't think that they quite understood what was going on with the conditions, boxes that they could have completely left blank to do with their conditions. They've written loads of stuff in. They've got an absolutely fine set of conditions, and they've gone and messed around with those as well, and I don't believe that was their intention. So certainly, if for no other reasons, on the basis that the hours no longer work, we ought to be objecting to it. It's not that we're against. Yeah.
Also,
I hope that makes sense. Sorry, it was very confusing trying to unpick it all. It was dreadful.
Looking at the licensing objectives on their application form as well, it's got all sales will be supervised with robust age verification procedures in place. Alcohol-free zones and family seating areas will remain in place to create a safe environment for children. Hello, where is that on there?
That was going to be my main comment, really. And I think what they're planning on, or what they have been doing, and their future plans for Newquay Football Club is admirable, and I think it's amazing that Newquay's football team and club is getting the kind of investment that it needs, because it does encourage real community spirit up there. But I go there often with my children, and there are a lot of children there, and I would just want to make sure that that family environment that they have been trying to nurture doesn't actually have negative impacts once. And I can understand fully why they'd want to bring a bar outside, because it is a bit of a palaver going in, and it's quite a small bar, and it can get busy, I'm sure. But, you know, football and alcohol have got a very complicated history, and I wouldn't want to see anything bad happen at Newquay.
I'm a bit curious as well, as the grandstand is down on the what's that, the south side, and the bars are an awful long way from that. So people are still going to be walking a long way to the bar. And I don't know why they've got the whole pitch. So sort of, are they looking for the future for what sort of events are they planning on holding up there? As to what the indication of that might be. I just think somebody's gone a bit nuts on...
Can I really
Yeah.
what the hell do they mean by the stadium? Is it all of it? Is it just
Well, it's all highlighted on red.
Stadium would, I guess, would be the whole thing. That's typically what you would refer to as the whole football ground.
the stadium is the entire thing,
Yeah, all of that in red.
and the outside bars that are outside
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm-
I'm with you, Francis. I don't object to what the principle of what they're doing, but have they got it right is the answer.
Sorry, Karen.
The only experience I have with football pitches is obviously if you're getting a drink, you haven't got to drink it actually at the bar. So that's why they've probably circled the whole pitch, because they'll take their pints with them to wherever they're standing to watch the match.
But then surely you would have had that around, not the actual football pitch itself. So
I think they've probably just gone on the of caution, so that if at the end of the match and all the players have gone and you walk from that side, from the right side, back to the bar with half a pint, it kind of covers you. But I agree, it's probably not as well thought through as it should have been.
I'll just point out that the consumption of alcohol isn't a licensable activity. It's the retail supply.
Right.
Once you've bought it, you could, you know, no matter what the license status of the pitch is, you would be able to walk across it once you've bought it. This would actually allow them to, for instance, sell alcohol
anywhere on that
from
field.
the penalty area.
Yeah.
Currently, you would be able to buy it and go and drink it in the penalty
Yeah.
area, but this would allow you to buy it.
So
in the penalty area.
I do have a concern with that as to
Yeah.
where this could be heading. It's like, oh, look, we're going to have an event and we're going to have multiple, you know, suddenly selling stuff on, you know, as a separate event, not related to football at all, anywhere in that red square.
Which theoretically isn't a bad thing, but we do need to make sure that it's not then retrospectively applied for.
The, as you'll know, football grounds are increasingly used for more than football, music events being one of them.
Yeah.
That is a licensable activity, and that would provide a
Yes.
good reason for why you would license
Yeah.
the, because you might have Oasis playing in the centre circle, who knows?
So what you call the red line is actually not the red line. It's the brown line that's around it, because outside bar 1 at the top is outside it's outside the pitch. That's the one I'm
No,
worried
I
about,
see what you,
because-
yeah, the colours aren't great.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
so
there
it's sort of-
are issues with it.
Because the
issues
sports
with this
bar's
plan.
not highlighted in red, which is the bar.
Yeah, which is there anyway.
So whether they do... No, I'm not happy with this at all. I think it needs... Somebody's just gone along in Photoshop or whatever and
Is that guidance or pre-planning applications that could be done with the officer before the
Yeah, so you go to, so you can employ the talents of a licensing consultant. You can go to Cornwall Council and purchase the time of a licensing officer under a scheme called Licensing Direct, and they will help you through all of this.
So, yeah, I mean, having listened to everything, I think I can't see that I would support this because of particularly because of the mismatch between the hours. So that would be the reason why I would object to it. I think there are some good things that I should sort of, at least I'm trying to put a positive spin on this. I like the idea that they've said there will be alcohol-free zones. The fact that they haven't specified where it is, I think, is an oversight. So let's spin it on the positive. You know, these things are all really good. And the reason I asked the question about what could they have done before they submitted this application is that maybe some feedback that we can give them is to seek those support mechanisms prior to returning it.
In a sense, what we're doing is making a representation, not actually objecting to it. Or we can say...
Which is what you do in the licensing anyway. There isn't support, object, you make a representation.
Yeah. Because they have, I mean, this, unless I'm, they haven't even ticked the supply of alcohol box. On page, because I mean, it should have, and
It's an inexpertly filled out form, and I think that the licensing authority is very unlikely to say yes to this, but they do need people to put in their representations to show that there is an issue.
So even though yes, we we've got no necessarily any issues, the inaccuracies with the form as it stands at the moment, that we'd be raising a representation for until those things are settled, really, until we have clarity. Yeah.
So it could be put quite a positive spin. We understand what they're doing. We're not objecting to it in principle, but there's mismatches between them.
Yeah.
I'll word it.
Yeah.
So
Can we also just add that we'd like to see some additional over the minimum regulations for ensuring that young people are not overly influenced by a drinking culture, because ultimately it is a sports ground and they should be there for the sports and not because it's a drinking venue. So, I wouldn't want my young 12-year-old, 14-year-old lad up there if I felt like it was a thing. So I think they just need to be very clear. It should be drinking zones, not non-drinking zones. If so, it should be put on its head. If you say, I mean, like smoking zones, you have a smoking zone, you don't have a non-smoking zone.
So drink is the exception rather than...
Absolutely.
As I understand it, you could currently buy a drink in the sports bar and stand anywhere.
I agree,
drink it.
but I would make an assumption that the reason they want at least an additional 2 outlets for selling alcohol is to increase the sales of said alcohol, because they don't get enough through the bar at the moment. And therefore, with more visible drinking of alcohol there, the osmosis of alcohol and sport will be increased to the young, influential minds of football is cool and therefore drinking is cool. So I would like there to be a request, I'm sure we can't enforce it, but a request to the owners who are, very responsible sports enthusiasts, to recognise that this isn't carte blanche, that it means that alcohol is deemed a drug that fits with a sporting mentality.
I think that
Absolutely, things like that. They can serve, if they serve Guinness, they can serve 0 Guinness. If they serve whatever, they can have a good balance of available refreshments.
If I say something along the lines of that we would want the licence holders to recognise that alcohol, what have I written there? Alcohol shouldn't be promoted as part of the club's culture. Shouldn't become. I can't even read my own writing.
I think the difficulty is that this is wax, isn't it? Wax have it now.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, none of this has been said about the bar at the sports centre, I presume. And so it's very difficult.
You can't buy alcohol on the pitch up at Wax Sports Centre.
At the moment.
Well, it's very rare that you can. It's done through a rattler van and stuff like that. So Wax is a gym which has restaurants and bars as part of it. So, and they've bought a sports venue because it's a sports venue. So I think we can make a request in, and I would be gobsmacked if they were to demonstrate their unacceptability to our request.
Well, I've certainly got something that I can go back with here.
Just say, I'd just like to highlight the family zone area. If it's that sheltered area, I think it would be quite nice if that was a family zone.
I mean, the big football clubs have family areas, which I presume they are alcohol free.
Yeah.
I mean, at any big stadium, you can wander around with your pint of beer. You know, rugby, you see them all.
No, you can't at
cricket.
football. Football, you are not allowed alcohol on the pitch in a Premiership.
So we are looking
So
at a licensing application for the sale of alcohol. I understand everything you're saying and I'm agreeing with it, but it isn't actually part of the context of what we're looking at, although we can certainly put the stuff in. You can't say to them, you must have a family area, because that isn't anything under the Licensing Act, is it? They manage their football. They manage their football ground. They're talking about how they sell alcohol.
Yeah.
So
Joan?
agreed, although I think what we've done successfully, particularly with Francis's comments, is that we've conveyed a view, and I think we can convey a view, can't we, when we give feedback? So that's, I think we're okay.
I can certainly, under the one of the 4 licensing objectives, as you'll know, is the prevention of harm to children. And I can certainly include something, and the representation form does sort of kind of say what changes to the application would you make, you know, in order to sort of facilitate that, in order to promote that licensing objective. So I've got enough to work with here that I can go back with. It's you know.
So I was proposing the making representation at the moment. Seconder? Yeah, second that. All in favour? Yeah, brilliant.
I think they need
Thank
to
you.
know what they want in the first place, because I think
Yeah.
they've not managed to communicate that brilliantly.
Right, decisions on previous applications. I haven't got any.
We haven't seen. I don't
No,
know
I'm
if
looking
we've
at
seen
the-
any 5-day protocols in
No.
December.
Right, planning applications for discussion. We've got everything on list 2. And I hadn't heard from you, Duncan, so I presume we're still just on. Oh no, we've got lots of applications. No, we don't.
Have you got any rubber stamp ones?
No,
We just got 2.
for full discussion.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we didn't meet to triage. Because there's our old friend, PA 25/08437, land adjacent to 1 King Edward Crescent, Dane Road. Construction of the self-custom build townhouse to include an additional bedroom within the roof. It's like Paddington. In response to appeal decision. So I'm sure you remember King Edward Crescent. It went to appeal, it got through appeal. So the apartments on the corner of Dane Road and St Edward Crescent have now as their outlook whether it's a 3-storey townhouse, meters away from their windows. So,
Can I just say that what is obviously coming through in all the appeals now is this pressure to, if it says it's accommodation, then it's going to get through, doesn't matter
Yeah.
what the conditions are.
But-
There's the latest one that came through, and it's with all the reasons why they should not be allowing it.
Yeah.
And then they said, but the government wants us to build more accommodation, so I'm going to allow
but
it.
it's still wrong, because in this instance, what I object to is that they're saying that somebody who's building a house has precedence over somebody living in an apartment or a flat. That it's okay for them to have a poor outlook, effectively, and have their light blocked. And I think that's really wrong. I think it's discriminatory financially. I think it's a real shame. That's the president that's taking over. Right, Duncan, do you want to talk to us about the room in the attic?
Yeah, certainly. So briefly, the committee's considered proposal for a single townhouse. In fact, we looked at one for 2 townhouses at one point, I think, on this site on 3 occasions. We've raised objections each time. Broadly speaking, concerns have included the impact on local parking pressures, because this is a, I'll just bring up the street view, and you'll see that this site is currently used as parking. So we were concerned about the loss of parking and then the need for additional parking associated with the townhouse. But we were as well very concerned about the impact on nearby neighbours, chiefly the Atlantic Lodge here and the Harvest Moon Apartments and Stones Throw, which is the property behind. The local planning authority refused the most recent scheme in November 2024, but a subsequent appeal was successful. So, having had that appeal, they have now come back to us as they wish to add to what they've had approved already.
And they lost street parking as well, haven't we, on that?
Yes, yeah, indeed. So the red line site just gives you an idea of the proximity to the neighbours.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you again, Duncan. This box here, I don't think was part of the plan, because we had a separate planning application, because remember they wanted to put parking on this, and that got turned down, and this was separate to the house. There we go.
What do they want to do?
But I'm sorry, I'm not going to agree to anything, even if it's just a loft space in the attic, if they've suddenly included that area which had been turned down for planning application before. I mean, we can comment on maybe on the loft space, but I am concerned that they've just gone and included that area there in their application when that was specifically turned down when they wanted to put that into a car park. It's a different application.
So what did the appeal say?
Right. So let me first of all let me bring up the. This is the right. This is. Right. Okay. Right. So if we look at that, I think so. These are the plans that were approved by the inspector, and you can see that site is included within there. So the red line is correct on the plans that we're looking at the moment. Okay, that was included. We've seen so many iterations of this, and I think that lines have been drawn and redrawn through time. But the last one that was refused and then went to appeal did include that. Okay, so.
Inspector, look at that. Who knows?
Well, I mean, that's the loss. garden again for the flats, they're losing their space. This. Along there is new parking. I mean, at the moment, the cars park here where the house is going to be built. This is going to be knocked down. And again, the loss of more parking on the road to accommodate, what's that, 3 spaces? When at the moment, I think they've got about 7 or 8 cars that park on that. As well as they're putting the cars. So all of this is going to be lost compared to like the little drive access they got at the moment. It's just Bristol.
It might be worth us briefly having a look at what the inspector said.
Doesn't help they don't quote the original.
So the local planning authority refused this application on 2 grounds, and these are in the appeal decision. These are the inspector's main issues. The first one was the effect of the development on the availability of car parking and storage, because I think you'll see that there are units here for storage that were associated with Atlantic Lodge, as well as the car parking. So that was one of the reasons that Cornwall Council wanted to say no. And the other one was the effect of the development on the living conditions of the occupants of Atlantic Lodge. Didn't mention any of the other 2, but Atlantic Lodge, with particular regard to outdoor amenity. So there is an amenity space at the back, and for some reason Cornwall Council were particularly concerned about that, the overlooking of that amenity space and the loss of light to that amenity space. The inspector was satisfied with the proposed parking arrangements on and off site. He's basically said there are plenty, or it's a well-connected site with plenty of trains and buses. I think he used the words that ownership of a car wouldn't be a prerequisite to living at the Atlantic Lodge. I must admit, I had steam coming out of my ears when I read that. He's obviously not lived in Cornwall ever. But the arrangements that he said yes to, those haven't changed as part of this application, okay? In terms of the overlooking aspect, the inspector included a condition that would require obscure glazing on 3 windows on the west elevation, so the elevation that faces the Atlantic Lodge, and these windows would also need to be sealed apart from the fanlight section. Okay, so they would have to be obscure glazed windows, and you couldn't just open them, you could only open the very top section over 1.7 metres high. And no occupation of the townhouse will be permitted until these restrictions are in place, and there is something on the conditions that says they have to be there in perpetuity. They can't get rid of them at some point in the future. Loss of light was mainly concerned with the courtyard garden at the back, and the inspector considered that the gap between the 3-storey townhouse and the Atlantic Lodge was sufficient to allow an acceptable level of sunlight and outlook to remain. I think at one point Nicholas Davis in his decision says that, makes reference to them still being able to see the sky, I think. So that's
my discriminatory comment about people that live in flats and apartments compared to the house. So the people who, and those are big windows, it's not like it's your bathroom toilet window, are going to have basically a wall. I think from memory it's about 5 metres in front of them. So from me to Karen.
So what we really need to see, I mean, we can talk about the inspector's decision as much as we like, but he's made that, and that's done and dusted, and that's nailed on. So it's really, they've come back, they've got what they asked for. but they've come back and they now want more. So we'll have a look at what more it is that they want. So let me just see. Right. So I want that out.
I'm reading the appeal. Council tried to have remove permitted development rights. Why can't they do this under permitted development rights?
Why can't they do what they're doing
now? Why do they? Is it because it's a window?
No, it's because it's because, I don't know if you recall, when we first saw these, that we were looking at a 4-storey townhouse. And then this final application, it came down to a 3-storey townhouse. And if you were to, bluntly sum up this application, they've got permission for a 3-storey townhouse. They now want a 4-storey townhouse.
Yeah.
So that's, it's not going to, something like that obviously is going to come under permitted development.
Our problem is that we've seen this so often that we get quite cross. Are they increasing the height of the building?
Indeed they are.
Right.
So, and that's what we are swiftly moving on to here. Right, okay, so what you're looking at here then, I think this proposed north elevation, I don't know if it is actually the north. No, sorry, it's the south elevation here at the in the middle of the screen there. This is what will be facing in this facing the road in this site here.
Can I just put
It's not changed. That's what they've said yes to already.
I'm just explaining though, because that's what we've been saying as a 3-storey house. That's what we accepted, because before it was too large and too overbearing, so they dropped the house down as well as taking the layer off.
And now they're putting it back on again.
And now they're putting it back on again.
So which is what you're looking at here. So this is what's been approved. This is what they are looking to do. So the
Sorry, I wasn't looking.
sorry, let me just flip back then. So you're moving from this to this.
Yeah. Well, they're going to get a very bad crick in their neck and need to have physio appointments for a very long time.
Yeah, so let's keep it on what they're applying for. So the change in ridge height is obviously, the footprint remains, I think remains largely the same, certainly at ground floor level. The change in ridge height, the approved was 36.82 metres, the proposed is 38.61, so it adds almost, it's about another 1.8 metres on top.
Which is a story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I want, I think, I'm just going to,
Right,
so what, the basis for this, the reason that they think that there is no grounds whatsoever, because it's quite a strongly worded design and access statement, planning statement, the reason that they feel that there is no grounds to refuse this whatsoever comes down to these green lines. So previous iterations, well, the argument that's put forward is that previous application, a couple of the previous applications, right to light studies were carried out, and they've included both of those. I mean, they're quite technical documents, but they've included both those in this application. And these green lines effectively show what would have been acceptable in terms of the right to light, particularly for the Atlantic Lodge. And they're saying, look, the permission that we have been granted is well within the right to light for Atlantic Lodge. And then what they're saying is, and this new this new proposal with an additional storey is also within that right to light parameter.
They missed a bit in the top right. They should have built up into that.
Oh, sorry,
Sorry.
I'm missing your humour slightly then. So do you understand the argument then? They're saying that actually we've already demonstrated that in terms of right to light, this is absolutely fine. So why not build up and fill that space?
Just looking at the appeal, and it's
Do you want me to put it on the screen?
yeah, 5 and 6. These are the key arguments here.
It's there in the...
Yeah, it's 5 and 6. Right, can you make it a bit bigger?
I sure can.
So he's sort of saying the appeal site is lower such that the proposed ground floor corridor would be below the level. Furthermore, the eaves levels of the parts of the roof nearest to the garden would be lower than those for the main part of the building. As a result, the effective height of the building nearest the garden would be less than 2 stories, with roofs sloping away. That is completely disappeared under this application. So this what he's saying as a justification is now gone. So then he says the proposed building will result in some loss of direct sunlight to the courtyard. This is 6. But the reduced level of the nearest roofs would ensure that reasonable levels of skylight would be retained, whatever that might be. Sunlight would still reach the garden for part of the morning. So can we justify saying, if they are put on an extra floor, that the argument that he used in 5 or 6 has now been wiped out? That's roughly what I think.
Yes, please do. Yeah.
Whatever the green line is, I don't know that one.
And can we see, I mean, they've got, I mean, the application is for a bedroom, but effectively it's a whole floor, isn't it? Yeah. So can we have a look at the plans as well for the upstairs as to what windows there are at the back as well, please, Duncan? And they've got a balcony then at the front, which I presume it wasn't there before. Yeah. So the balcony, is that a Juliet? No, it's a glazed balcony. So we need to see how far that comes out, please, as well.
So what you're looking at there is this is the addition to the building, okay? So the balcony is street facing, obviously.
So they've given it solid walls at the sides to be sticking out. So they are saying it's all one big bedroom with a big seating area, and it's en suite, and that's the staircase going out, and there's no windows on any other side.
So are we saying with the new build, the effective height of the building nearest the garden will now be 3 stories?
Yes.
Because the justification was it was only 2 stories.
Yeah. Because it's sunken it. Yeah.
The government have an outlook to open sky. Will they still have an outlook to open sky? Above the building at a relatively low angle, so it would not be an overly impressive presence.
So this is the crux of their argument. This is what they're saying their right to light studies have proved.
Is now invalid because they put an extra floor.
Yeah.
So is this gap he's talking about? He's saying.
So they're setting this.
Still reach the garden for part of the morning between the proposed house and the Atlantic house. This gap would allow views out of the garden to the south. Is that gap still there?
Well, no, the garden's not there because it's a car park now. They don't have a garden anymore because he allowed.
The gap would allow views out of the garden. No, he's saying that Atlantic Road, not the house itself. He's talking about the garden that.
Yes, so here, this little space here. I mean, we don't know what they've done to this boundary or what they propose for this boundary or how high. Well, this little gap here. Yeah.
Now he's saying
Between.
there is a gap sunlight would still reach the garden for part of the morning between the proposed house and Atlantic Lodge. Then it says, this gap. What else is he talking about? Or is he saying that?
Just saying
I think he's talking about separation between the Atlantic Lodge and the...
Because
So the justification in the, by putting an extra floor on, the justification that the inspector used is now no
Yeah.
longer valid.
Well, I mean, the gap doesn't change, obviously.
No.
The gap, because
But
the
the
footprint
height-
remains the same, but obviously the taller it is, the less light would get in. What I'll do quickly...
Reasonable levels of skylight, whatever that means. Light from the sky. Where's the sun? Does it come round? It's got to be. If it's got to be.
well,
high,
it
they've got to-
does on a daily basis. Yes. We'd be very alarmed if Trump goes and takes over the sun too.
So, is there a loss of direct sunlight to the courtyard garden? The only sunlight they're going to get is in the early part.
I think.
Part of the morning. Are they going to get any?
So that's that bit of
courtyard
with
where
the
you can see
washing.
their washing is. That's the courtyard garden, and this is what the inspector says. There will still be a suitable level of residential amenity. It will still be. They will still be able to use it.
So do you think they're
with the 3-storey house?
Do you think they're keeping that stone wall and that height, or they're ripping that out and putting fencing up?
So,
No plans, I
is
don't
this
think,
picture
to
not
do
a
it.
bit that goes up? So what we're looking at, that's what. Is that what's been approved, or
What?
that? So what are they? So that building there is being replaced by something. It's been accepted to be replaced by something that only looks like 2 stories, even though it's 3. And now they want to make it even taller. Is that?
Yeah. So effectively, it's going to be the same height nearly as this, as the lodge on, even though it's on ground, it's the extra story. So effectively, it's going to be here,
Yeah.
and that's going to be their little space at the back, whoever's that is, with the gate in that they'd normally access from here. So I really don't know what's done on with the boundary. But again, we can't, that's not part of the application, is it? So I presume that was decided with their original plans.
I think we can say we think the extra floor
Yes, would,
destroys the argument made by
yes.
the inspector in the
Yeah.
appeal.
yeah.
Because now it is going to be, he's saying it's effectively only 2 stories, it will now effectively be 3 stories, even though it's 4 stories.
I think because they've won on appeal, they're just trying to
Well, get the original building back.
get the original,
Yeah.
put the extra layer on.
Yeah.
Because
Our argument
the-
has to do with the appeal, the conditions that allow them during the appeal.
Yeah.
But they'll be null and void if they put
That's
another
exactly.
Yeah.
top on.
Yeah.
But their argument is that this these green lines.
What are these green lines?
So these green lines are
Was the original application that got turned down?
These are it says denotes outline of previous revision which complied to the BRE right to light methodology. So they're saying that an earlier application had the scale and mass of this green line and was allowable in terms of the right to light to the neighbours.
Says who? Says what?
Well, there are 2 very technical reports that have never been.
No.
Exactly, it was not. No.
I don't,
Can we say, sorry, on the green line issue, can we say that the applicant is actually cherry picking an aspect of a failed previous application?
Has there been any representation from the neighbours?
No, they haven't, but I haven't seen any comments.
They never have objected because he owns the.
Yes, it's the same proprietor. No, we did. We had an objection from the people from the east side.
It might have been Harvest Moon, it might
Yes.
have been Stone's Throw, but we definitely
Yeah.
did have,
Yeah.
quite right.
Can I suggest that we the skylight is a window in the roof, so I don't know what it means. But effectively, I would argue that the argument used by the appeal inspector by putting an extra floor on it has been negated. Mind you, they'll still probably come back and say it's okay, but...
It'll be interesting because, I mean, the precept of more housing has been met. This is another bedroom on the house. So, so it's not... it'll be interesting to see what happens, I think.
It's not like it's apartments, is it? It's one house.
No, it's one house, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's what he originally wanted. So I'm proposing objection on this from what we've already said. Seconder? All those? Yeah.
Interesting, the inspector didn't raise the accommodation at all costs argument.
No, well, I don't think
Clearly said
there's
that it wasn't big enough to be oppressive next door. Oh, maybe a little bit oppressive, but not.
Yeah, I just...
Really, the pressure for accommodation at all costs, firstly, falls on Cornwall Council, and they weren't swayed by that argument, were they?
No.
What it does, unfortunately, show is that it's comes back to dates of documents, because the brushes aside things like our 2 cars policy, 2 parking policy, because of the climate change DPD. That's happening increasingly in these, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it specifically says in here, although I don't think it particularly applies, that the DPD, which is the thing that was written 2 years before our plan but didn't get adopted until 6 months afterwards, has overridden, which is the reason we cannot do a neighbourhood plan until after the local plan has been adopted, which gives us quite a long interregnum, unfortunately.
Yeah. Right, application 2, PA 25/09. Yeah, we did, yeah. 15, you don't remember, that's some short-term memory loss, Joanna.
It's a bit early in the year.
Sudden concerns. This is 9 Barrowfield View. This is construction of a single-storey rear extension, part retrospective. Duncan, sorry, over to you.
Okay. Right. So we'll have a look at the the overhead first.
Who remember the King Mark? Behind the King Mark.
Right.
Or Foster.
Okay. Yeah. So north of Foster. That's speaking my language now. Yeah. So south of Narrowcliff, north of St Anne's Road. How long's that development been there? It's going to be. It's a while now, isn't it? 20 years.
Oh yeah, it's a long time since Foster's had that flood and had to be knocked down. Yeah.
Yeah. So where are we? So access. This is a terrace of 10 houses, and it's actually the penultimate one. That red marker's not quite right. It's actually the penultimate one on the terrace. We'll come down to the street view, and you will see that it's actually accessed via a private road that runs down the side of the Churchill Retirement Apartments. And what we're looking at is the end that's behind Churchill, but one of these type of houses, this terrace of houses. We've got some really nice supporting photographs, which I'll just make a little larger. So that's sort of kind of what we were, the view that we were looking at a moment ago. And that is that penultimate house in question. I think there's also that's the very front of the property, so it's the light coloured one in between the two slate clad ones, and then that's a view of the rear of the property taken from, I don't know, would that be from St Anne's Road? Yes. So back to the red line site. Let's just make that a little larger. So here you go. So that's the parking space to the front. That's the roof. There's a first floor balcony, and then there's the important part of this application. Really, I think is about the amenity space at the back. There's a design and access statement. It mentions previous works that had converted the garage into a bedroom in 2012. It clarifies the use of the term part retrospective, which I think we probably just ought to make sure that we're comfortable with that. Where's that, page 2? The term part retrospective is being used because exploratory groundworks to check for the location of drainage pipes and to check the condition of the foundations began last November. So it's just some exploratory works rather than actually starting to construct. And they confirm that no changes are proposed to the current access arrangements. The proposed extension is confined to the rear of the dwelling and will be accessed via through the interior of the existing building. Let's have a look at the... To be honest, we don't really need to look too much at the existing plans, because the proposed, effectively, this is that amenity space at the back. This is the footprint of the extension, the rear single-storey rear extension that they want to put in. That's actually the roof of it. The layout of it is seen in the drawing next to it, and it's a bedroom. As you can see, it's accessed via the utility room or via the garden, and it's an enclosed back garden. So it's...
And on the left-hand side, that is what, a courtyard?
Yeah, they've all got backyards.
Yeah, it's their back garden. Basically, they are sort of kind of putting it bluntly, they're cutting the back garden in half so that they can create another bedroom.
So I'm assuming that all of them are the same. Where
Yes.
are the windows for the next? The one what worried me about it's precedent, so once
Yeah.
one goes through, they all go through.
Yeah.
Where the windows would be in the same place, wouldn't it? So there's a window right next to it, if it's the same plan.
So the utility room window becomes a door, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, perhaps I should have the existing.
I mean, looking at the satellite image, nobody's done extensions at the back, so it will be a precedent. And what's already a very small...
So it is actually a door, that is
amenity
actually
space.
a door, that utility room, so...
Because it's on the left hand, I was just trying to work out what the window would be for the adjacent house.
It's outlets of the courtyard.
Well, the courtyard on one side, but it's the house on the other. It's a terrace, isn't it?
So
Sorry.
presumably then you would have a bedroom sitting alongside here. You'd have a bedroom with a patio door out into the garden. So
They're all
I presume
mimic.
that you're concerned about the sort of the 45-degree rule and the lack of light.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have an image that shows more than one of the terrace properties together. But presumably the neighbour would be the same arrangement as you can see on this south elevation here.
Yeah.
But would there be any impact, because there would be a fence
Well, it would be taller, isn't it? This is the fence here, that height. So, but to accommodate a single story, it's going to be higher.
So let's, probably best to look at this plan.
Coming in, so it's going to be shading their back garden a bit. Oh, it's going to be even higher than that, isn't it? It goes up beyond that.
I think the question is maybe, because without being shown the details of the place next door, we've got no idea if there is going to be a negative effect or not.
So oh, sorry, height of the fence. So that is quite a bit taller than.
Yeah, so there could be a loss of light to effectively the neighbour's version of that one there.
Yeah.
Did I see a comment though that they've actually consulted with the neighbours?
But that's not, the neighbours can change, yeah.
They should do, shouldn't they?
Yeah, you may well have seen, was that in the design and access statement?
I think so.
Yeah. I think that you're right.
I wanted this one to come in just because it is a precedent.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure what the
Yeah.
effect on, if
I
there's
don't-
no effect on the neighbour, I mean, do we have any worry about that? It's those string of townhouses, all of them extending.
Are you concerned that that's...
Oh, there is a picture in the,
Enough,
oh, that's
I mean-
better. There is a picture in the design and access statement. Yeah, that's the front, that's no good.
Right.
We need a picture of the back.
And I would say, whilst it's probably not preferable, equally, if it's a case that there's been a extension to the family, you know, they've had an extra kid, whatever, and it's either build this additional very small third bedroom, or have to move out of town. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of balance that people are talking about these days. So,
And I'll bring, in conclusion, the DNA statement tells us the loss of some of the private amenity space to the rear, it's about 50% of the garden, is recognised by the applicant as a compromise, but will enable the family to make better use of the existing dwelling rather than having to relocate.
I don't,
and it's near beaches and it's near other places. I don't think it's it's not preferable, to repeat myself, but equally, there is no, you know, the housing situation at the moment is not in a situation where we can pick and choose, I don't think.
I don't think it's a problem unless it affects the amenity of the next door neighbour.
Yeah.
And the fact that once this
Agree
one
on that.
goes through, all of them will go through. Again, I have no problem with that, providing it's not affecting, and I just can't tell from this because they haven't given us the details of what's happening.
I do have a concern of building right up to a boundary that they can't actually maintain the other side without going into their neighbour's back garden on this, and that it's going to be the same height as the balcony that they've got there, and that has a little bit of alarm bells ringing. It's like, oh, look, the balcony is going to extend over on the flat roof of the extension. And then, of course, then that's going to impact on everybody else's amenity space, isn't it? In terms of... coming out from this way, so you can imagine if they change the balcony to just go around. So we absolutely do not want that to happen. To access to the front roof from the balcony there. They've got, you know, the balcony there for...
Yes, that really would be an invasion of privacy.
It really would, coming out from here.
Is there any suggestion in the application that that is the case?
No, but we have had applications before where we've made this point and it has been put in as a condition.
Yeah.
That has to, you know, that this couldn't just happen at some point in the future.
Yeah.
I think that would be, you know, definitely appropriate to include that.
It's south, I got it right, aren't it? It's south facing, isn't it? So that means the sun is coming round. Will it affect
So
the light to the house at number 9?
it will, with in the morning in the east, when it comes up from the east, it will do.
Yeah. So
Because you've got an
that's-
extra...
And I can't tell from this whether it does or not, because they really don't actually talk about next door at all.
Hopefully
it's
it was just an
interesting.
oversight.
Look, the one
But
on the
it's
end has a
disappointing.
2-storey extension. On the west end has a 2-storey extension coming out.
Do we have any plans of the top floor, Duncan?
Existing or proposed?
There won't be any changes, but I'm just wondering
Yeah.
whether they can't get up into the loft instead of doing this thing in the garden.
Right, so it's ground floor.
Yeah,
first
fancy.
floor. Right, so we've got proposed first, ground floor.
It's,
Yeah.
No, they don't appear to have given us that. Ground floor, first floor, second floor. We've
Yeah,
got a
we've got
first
a
floor and we've
picture
got
in
a
here.
ground floor. I don't think that we've, let me just check.
I
No.
think they're already into the loft, aren't they?
Yes, I thought I would guess so because of that large window there.
Yes, it hasn't got roof space, so they must be
Right.
a gabled roof space.
Called not surveyed.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's why they want to get in the garden.
I would propose no objection, subject to no effect on the amenity of the adjacent neighbour, and we really can't tell what it is, because they haven't given us anything on, it would be I think number 10's okay, because number 10 has a courtyard next to it. Have I got the right numbers right? This is 9.
Yeah.
10 would be okay, but I am concerned that we have no information on the effect on number 8. And I would have expected them to say, there's no effect on number 8.
And there's no access to extended access from the balcony onto that flat roof in the future, and that needs to be made a clause that doesn't happen, because I mean they've got all solid walls between the balconies, but you can imagine that coming out there, that would be a huge intrusion onto.
Yep.
Well, I mean they can all see anyway, can't they, into each other's spaces? But to have that jutting out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like it, but
So that's
yeah.
my proposition, is go for it.
So is somebody going to second Joanna? Second that?
It's a fairly big subject too, since we have no information on what effect it could have on number 8.
Well, you said amenity, but I'd say light as well.
Yeah.
Coming from the east, yeah. I'm concerned with the president that they're all going to come in on here, and I don't like it.
The proposal is a no objection.
Yeah,
Currently
raise
not.
your hands if you
Yeah.
agree with.
I'm just wondering, what I'm doing at the moment.
There's no objection. No objection. Subject to a socking grate check on the amenity of next door.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that's.
Is that through?
And sort of what?
Even if the rest of them don't.
Yeah.
Just register my abstention, please. Just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to object
Is there
to.
a way that we can register
Yeah.
an abstention on that vote?
Yeah, well, I could say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disagree with the no
Why
objection, basically.
Why are you
Yeah.
abstaining?
I'm almost opposed to the bill, but I just do recognise the bit about if you can't increase the living space, that you're effectively being moved out of town. But I do think that the bill is going to be the loss of amenity is quite
Yeah.
a
From a small.
obtruse extension in a very small property. So I've chosen not to.
Sounds like an objection to me.
Yeah.
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 No, I think it's a complicated.
I mean, I'm objecting to it.
I don't want to say that I am not going to support no objection, but I do just want to make it say that actually that we're not in consensus here on this.
Well, we record it as a unanimous or a majority.
All right.
But I mean, I was always taught that an abstention should really be saved for if you don't feel that there's enough information there for you to be able to choose one way or another. But then, that's not written in stone, but that's kind of what I was always
No,
taught.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. But anyway,
That's correct, because there isn't enough information on what effect there is going to be on next door.
That is part of the problem, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. Okay, terms of reference, risk assessment update. Risk assessment, it's dodgy business this here, planning, isn't it?
No, the only thing is, I'm not going to be here for the next meeting, but perhaps the meeting after that might be an opportunity for us to, we need to have, because we said with our new screening process that we'd have a review of it about halfway through. So perhaps
Have we been doing it that long, have we?
Well, we were only going to the end of the civic year,
Oh, okay.
so it is actually racing to, I'll find out roughly at midpoint. I'm thinking maybe
I
February will be,
didn't think we'd had that. Oh, okay.
I think maybe towards the end of February we might
Yeah.
be
Review
quite
it.
close.
Yeah.
I'll figure it
Yeah.
out.
Report associated recommendations from working parties. We haven't had any meetings yet, have we? Oh, apart from the derelict building one, did we? Or did we?
With the derelict building, we've identified various places where we're not totally happy with them. And there was a lot of work done by all the experts on a letter that Andy could send, which is not as tough as getting it from Cornwall Council. Jacob's work marvels, so the letters have all gone out. Yep, the letters are good and they've gone out, so I'm very grateful for Jacob for all the work he's put into it.
And can you just commend the tone of those letters? When I read them through, it was spot on. It could not have been written better, in my opinion.
It was written by a committee, basically.
Yeah,
Not me, I
and
think
whoever was involved with it really got it done, like absolutely nailed it. Bravo for that comms.
The advantage of having a multi-agency working party, that when you get something like that, they all have a go at it, and we went back and forward several times, and I'm pleased, with the result.
Brilliant. Right. Financial statement. You've been skiing? Oh, right. Sorry.
Is there parking?
We haven't had a parking one yet.
No, but there was. You wanted to.
Something I'm
There's a
going to be
change
doing
in the
because
name.
we need to
Change the name.
We need to have a discussion on
Parking and transport.
and I was going to, I'll talk to
Parking and highways.
Duncan, we can perhaps work on it, but a letter basically to the whole of the council saying, have you got any schemes that you would like to see
But we
the
need
town
to.
council adopt? It may very well be this crossing that we looked at last time.
But we need to change its name as well to
Oh, yeah, we're going to
parking and
change its name
highways.
To parking
So-
and highways, yes.
Yeah.
Just do that. I don't see any problem with you just doing that now.
So can we
it's
change
either
it
that
now?
or you do it at the working party and then it comes back and you all say yes.
Shall we
we're
do it
happy
now?
with that.
I'm happy to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah. So propose
So it's parking
And highways.
and highways to change its name.
proposed by Joanna.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'll second that. All those in favour? Yeah, that's everyone.
But we need to get the letter out so people can come back and we can have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
meeting. It's the end of February, isn't it, the date? So we have to select, we need to, if we work out
7th
backwards.
of February, wasn't it?
And
Yeah.
is there a P&L meeting just before that?
That's a good question.
Let's have a look.
There's one on the 3rd, so the next one will be around about the
18th.
Right, so we need to aim
18th.
because effectively the P&L make the recommendation, but very
Yeah,
much
yeah.
involved. I also want to write to all the Cornwall councillors to say, just tell us what your schemes are, so we're not talking about that. So Duncan, and perhaps you and I can work on something to go out beginning or the end of this week or beginning of next. Trouble with having a Christmas break is you forget that you've
Because
got-
does it include speed limits or not?
It excludes double yellow lines.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about speed limits. I think it could.
Maybe I misremembered. Maybe it was a double. I remembered it excluded something quite specific and
It's
significant.
double yellow lines.
It was W.
I mean, the
so
whole-
there's two areas where I hear a lot of noise, and there are two roads, and I can't remember the names of them. Major apologies, But one is, because Pentire is now a 20-mile-an-hour limit zone, and whilst it means people still speed, they maybe don't speed as much as they sped before.
If someone is parked in that bit by
Oh,
the number
yes,
one Pentire,
absolutely.
and you realise he's got a camera.
But the two roads are the one from Quintrell that goes down to the past Hendra.
Francis, can I just put in, can you note this down and send it to the working party?
I can do that.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few, actually.
Well, then whether you need to find out specifically what they are, it needs to come to the working party, or come to the working party, and send it to Joanna, which will probably...
I think we'll be saying that every member of the council is
Yes,
welcome to
can
attend
put
this.
that, yeah.
We're not, the working party is not
Yeah,
going to
so if you want to, you know, think
Can
about
we,
it, people.
can we also put an appeal out from Newquay Town Council via the social media for people to put forward their suggestions?
Oh, no, I think that's... Sorry,
No,
that
it's
is
not.
overkill.
But there might be things that people want that we're not aware of.
There's
True.
such a small amount of money. I think it's £80,000 for 3 years between the whole cap.
I think it's 80,000 a year, isn't it? But it's between the whole cap.
It's the whole
going
cap.
all the way down to... I mean,
St
people
Agnes.
haven't come forward with things. I mean, I know that... So... it's
I think
peanuts.
it's that. So it goes from St Wen to St Agnes, including Perranporth, St Colin Major. It's not going to go very far at all.
And they've excluded double yellow lines, which
Yeah,
is what
which
we
is the
normally do.
cheapest thing to do. Yeah,
Nothing stopping councillors casting their own net amongst
Yes.
their own electorate
And
asking them
getting
to come
their
back
thing.
to them.
yeah.
I have a feeling that if we went out to 26,000 people and said, tell us what you'd like to
Yeah,
A lot
do
of
with the
them would
roads,
say,
we'd
"Can
be...
you fight our
we
double yellow
would-
lines?" And you're like, "No."
well,
they would
parking
take over
everywhere.
everything.
Yeah,
But you certainly could, sort of, as I say, cast your net across your own electorate if any of you wanted to.
okay, so you're going to meet up with Duncan and discuss a letter. And we need to, if you can put a date out, an idea of a date out then, Joanna, as well, for working party.
For the working party, we'll put out one of those, what are they called, when you can put your preferred dates in?
Yeah.
Poll, yeah.
Yeah,
You know
think
what
of,
I-
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Back to the financial statement. Have you been skiing, Duncan? No.
Yeah, no purchases have been made, no
No.
purchases authorised.
Right. Other correspondence? No.
No, the only thing was we've had some more letters of intention to sell from Ocean Housing.
It's a bit concerning. I've got to admit this is concerning. Is this what, have you got this for items for information? Because you've got Ocean Housing there.
Because we aren't being consulted, we are being told as a matter of courtesy that this is happening. There was some concern, do you remember, Joanna? There was some concern, particularly on the part of Councillor Fitter. It's probably a good, maybe 3 years ago. But we have seen evidence that they were doing the right thing. They were, because they used the money that they got from the ones that were in a very poor state, and they did use that money to massively improve some. I can't remember if it was on Hawkins Road. Do you remember this, Joanna?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't feel like it was just selling off the family silver. They were actually using it to improve Ocean Housing. But I think the problem is that they get to a point with some of these properties that they're in such a poor state of repair that it becomes financially, just very, very difficult to justify spending that amount of money.
And I mean, that's the argument, isn't it? They're saying it will cost us more money, it's better for us to sell and take that money and invest in other properties. It's very difficult to
Yeah,
argue.
but the
If
housing
it's-
stock still gets reduced though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They could use their own assets to improve their stock.
They are properties that they aren't able to use.
So they're
They're in
saying,
they're in a state of such dilapidation that they can't use them.
I-
They haven't got the money.
I
And they
understand
can't
what you're saying,
justify the
but
spend.
I think the
In
the
principle,
preferred
I
option
like it.
would be if they're going to offload one property, they should buy one other property so that the stock remains the value, not just using the sale of a property to improve existing stock, because that means that stock depletes.
I think their argument is that they can then invest that money into properties that are in a lesser state of dilapidation and stop them from ending up like the ones that they feel they've got to sell. Yeah, it goes down, yeah.
For more information, because I'm looking at what they're writing, and they're saying we're letting you know as a matter of courtesy, which means we don't care what you think. But it would be interesting to know, I mean, the concern of the stock reducing is big. And is it, if we could ask for more information, would this involve purchasing of more stock in Newquay? Because it's always, we don't know whether they're basically selling properties in Newquay and then investing in Bodmin.
Yeah.
And Newquay does have a big housing
Or
problem.
selling in UK and not buying anything new.
Yeah. Or not buying anything new at all. So it would be,
For further information from them?
can we ask? They say if you have any questions, we have questions.
Yeah, if you could ask the note. Well, Joanna, do you want to propose?
I'll propose that, yep.
I'll report back.
And I think
Being run down.
because if you're deliberately running things down, then that's perverse incentive, and so therefore I'd like to pick them up on that as well. Well, who knows, but we're being curious.
I've got two issues to raise in this point, if I can.
Okay, we've sort of jumped the what's gone through, but yeah, go on.
Right, first one is, I don't know if we've heard from the Hotel Victoria. They contacted me before Christmas to say that they were putting their planning permission through and it's been submitted and it was going to be verified, and then they were going to come and possibly present to us in a session before. They obviously haven't done it yet. You haven't heard anything, Duncan?
Nothing, no.
So it is just a warning that we could be next, in a fortnight's time, this one could be coming through.
Oh
It's
gosh,
all
that'll be a
built flat,
beast.
So that could be quite important.
Not-
And, and the second issue is the, I mean, I think you've probably all seen the reports of the cliff falling on Great Western. We're in, there's been quite, it's basically what I've been in quite strong discussion with the, nothing to do with that fall, but with the cliff people and about the status of our policies with the coastal change management area. And they're sort of changing the rules as they go along. And they're saying, well, of course, really, for a coastal management area, you should have a coastal management area plan. I've asked Duncan and Sarah if I can put this on the agenda for next time, because actually I think we need to make a formal request to Cornwall Council, possibly to be a pilot, because there are none, there are absolutely none. I mean, I think we may be we're still the only coastal change management area, but we need to be basically saying, what are we doing?
Yeah.
As the cliffs fall. I mean, are we going to be saying to the properties on the cliff? I mean, I don't know what they're saying. I mean, the cliffs are owned by Cornwall Council. The property is freehold, and I haven't yet been told what they're planning to do. But you know, our plan is, as the cliffs fall, which is inevitable. There are things like we shouldn't have water pipes along the edge of the cliff. And can we stop South West Water putting a water pipe in, which then bursts and brings the cliff down at Tolkien? So there's a lot of stuff. We're probably going to lose the road, certainly losing the road at Whipsodary. We've got to think about, I don't know how you do one of these plans, it's absolutely new. So I was wanting to put it on the agenda next time, merely for us to contact Cornwall Council and say, would you like to work with us and tell us what we're supposed to be doing on one of these? And we'd very happily be a pilot if you can provide us with some resource to do it.
I don't think that they're going to actually verbally commit to anything as to what they're going to do with the cliffs and the properties. I mean, you think of what goes on in East Anglia and Norfolk on the unconsolidated old glacial deposits, that glacial till that's there, and properties, they just disappear over the cliff, and you can lose, 2 to 10 metres overnight, and your garden disappears, the house, and everything's abandoned. So the expectation, but then you look at what's been done to protect the properties at Marazion, and is the full buffet of different types of coastal protection. I mean, the government way is to let it find its natural course. So in that case, there's going to be certain properties in Newquay which will be allowed to disappear, and the council would not be expected to protect those cliff lines. So if that's what's done, then people need to know about that, and that certain properties will be then declared unsafe and uninhabitable and will be then emptied.
It does what it says on the tin, coastal change management. Coastal change is happening, it's how we manage it. It's not stopping it. It's about if there isn't a road going here, then how will we
What's
get
the alternative going to be?
from A to B when that road's not there anymore? That's what coastal change management is about.
It's a very harsh decision to say we expect all the properties along Great Western to fall in, because we do.
They will eventually,
Well, so
Even more of an argument about the Whipstery.
well, there you've got, although nobody will admit to being, what was the word, causal link, I think. But effectively, if you start trying to interfere with the cliffs, but this is very, very early days. This is just a concept. I just want to put it on the agenda, and then for us to formally approach Cornwall Council. I would have done it this week, but I left it too late. So just formally approach Cornwall Council and see if they can give us a helping hand on one of these. But it's, I think some of the decisions are incredibly difficult because they are incredibly harsh. But we're not getting erosion by inch. The problem is we are getting serious and catastrophic effects.
I think it's inconsistent at the moment as well, because like in Loo, there's a cliff that Cornwall Council has done a huge amount of work on to save it, and there's properties above. So I suppose it's because there's a road beneath it, but it's inconsistent at the moment.
I think it's got to be to do with the geology and the angle of the cliff, and if it's vegetated and it's been quite stable for a long time, to encourage that. The trouble is where we've got bare rock, and with sea level change and climate change and more storms and things that are going to be impacting and eroding the bases of cliffs, the top of cliffs, because you've got the marine processes happening with the cliff, but you've also got the cliff slope processes as well. As if you've got a cliff inland, that's going to have the same erosional processes acting and weathering processes acting on it as if it was by the sea. So you've got two sets of contributing factors here, and nature doesn't like a cliff face. It wants it to be neutralised. So
I can't see Cornwall Council doing anything on any of the cliffs that they don't own.
No.
The problem is that they do own some of the cliffs on Great Western, which I think is probably the beach that is at most risk. Whipsterderry shouldn't have been at most risk, but that was special circumstances.
Anyway, yes.
I think we need to start having that discussion, and it's going to be really,
do we need to vote on that then, to write to Cornwall Council to...
Well, I don't think we need to.
I'll just add it to the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, that's fine.
And I should point out I won't be here for the next meeting. I'll be elsewhere. So it doesn't look at the moment like a heavy agenda in terms of applications again. Please come along as well, as conversant with the applications as you can, because Louise will be taking the meeting, and obviously she's got a massive day job to deal with without having to mess about with this, all right? But you always treat her very well.
I'd like to think about a letter to Cornwall Council about
So maybe
stuff
we
we're
we
working on,
propose
management plan.
we postpone that until Duncan's back then, rather than putting on to Louise.
I don't think there's any real hurry.
Yeah.
Would it be better to wait for
Yes.
you to be back?
Can we?
Duncan?
Okay.
Can
yeah,
we wait
sure.
until you're back then, Duncan, rather than
Well, I
putting
mean,
it on Louise?
you could have a chat about it and then carry it forward to the next meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be an idea.
I
Don't
think it's a bit hard
lumber.
to get Louise sort of.
We'll talk about it when you're back, Duncan, I think, and then
okay,
don't put it under Louise's radar as well. Can I just draw your notice to the results? What do they call it? Where's 15 gone? I don't know. The weekly decisions list. The ones at the bottom. The St Michael's Road down there. The solicitors got refused. I got to admit, I'm very surprised with the amount of issues that became apparent with their application, that they didn't withdraw it. But the one which below it is withdrawn is the 18 Beta Thury Way. Remember the loft extension when they're going to rotate the ridge line? Yeah. That was withdrawn. So no doubt we'll see that coming back, and no doubt. Yeah, we did. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think there was anything, other things got through. I think those are the only two that I picked up in terms of interest. Everything else was granted, I think, or approved. Yeah. No, the BT one.
That we
Close.
weren't consulted on. There's a load of applications on the bottom there that no consultations were sent out for. I'm not certain of the reason, but we weren't consulted. So there's a load at the bottom of the list that we won't have seen previously.
Okay, so, and I think that's it. I think date of next meeting then is again Tuesday, the 20th of January, because we've got full council on the Wednesday. So I think that's it, unless anyone's really busting with some sort of exciting bit of thrilling news. No? Wonderful.
Just all I wanted to do was just remind you, Boardmasters, 14th of January, Vision 9.
Yes, that's online, isn't
I told you at the
it?
last meeting I was here with them.
Can we have the link? Ask Helen Fincham to put the link round again for that meeting, because you put the link out back in November.
It's a Teams meeting now, is it?
I'm pretty sure it's Teams. I don't think.
The Teams meeting is on the 19th, I think, and then 14th is an actual
Oh yeah, Teams is the 19th, so it's the 14th an actual meeting. Oh right.
There are two meetings. There's a public meeting.
Yeah.
Is it the public meeting on the 14th?
Councillors type meeting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's. Is it a Teams meeting or is it?
14. No, the 19th I've got is the Teams meeting.
Yeah, that's the Teams one. There's two meetings at it, isn't there? Where is it? The digital.
Boardmasters Beach Bar.
Oh right, okay.
So they're having it on their own premises, right? Haha. I doubt it. Okay. Can we close the meeting then, please, Kathy? Thank you. Bye, everyone.